And back to our breaking story. At the beginning of the show, we told you about another arrest the police had made in British Columbia, charging a fourth Indian national in the murder of Sikh separatist activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. To discuss this development further, I'm now joined by Vina Nadjibula, Vice President of Research and Strategy at the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada. Vina, good evening and thank you for joining us on CTV News Channel. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
This story is developing quickly, Vina, as we know. Now we're talking about a fourth arrest that has been made, another Indian national who has been arrested and charged in the killing of Nijjar. Total of 4 as of now. Your reaction to this development first?
You're absolutely right, Akshay. As you said, we've been waiting for 10 months to see any development on this, and now arrest in sort of succession. We had 10 days ago. Now this one. I think for now, it doesn't change much in terms of the fundamentals. We're seeing that this is another young man, another Indian national here on a temporary visa. So we don't have too many more details. I don't think we'll see a lot of reaction from India on this. The part that really matters is the investigation into the connection with the Indian government. And on that, we're still waiting.
You spoke about the reaction. We know that India has had a very strong reaction on the arrests made last week as well. We got reactions from the Indian envoy here in Canada. We got reactions from the Foreign Minister of India as well, accusing Canada of welcoming in criminals. How do you see this further playing out, Vina?
I think we'll have the same message that this is basically confirmation of the fact that Canada is harboring extremists and that this is part of organized crime, in addition to obviously being part of a separatist movement and connected to the desire to create a Khalistan state in India. So we'll have the same reactions. In addition, last week, we also heard from India that they haven't received any actual details from Canadian law enforcement on any of this. So they're saying that they're still waiting to get any kind of information on the cases. And of course, we also heard from Canadian law enforcement that it's difficult for them to cooperate with the Indian side, so that the relationship is difficult.
You know, this sharing of information, of course, has been an issue from both sides, from India as well as Canada, on, of course, acknowledging what information is also being shared. But let me talk to you about that accusation Prime Minister Trudeau made. Some damning allegations and accusations saying that the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar could be linked to the agents of India and the Indian government could have been involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. If those investigations and arrests that have been made by the RCMP were to establish that link, Vina, of course, it's a speculation, if they were to be established, what may be the outcome of these relationships, you think?
I mean, it's difficult to speculate on such a big hypothetical, but you're absolutely right that if there is actually evidence that then becomes available through this criminal investigation and becomes public, it will have a tremendous impact on the bilateral relationship. We've seen the relationship already in quite a difficult spot, although in the last couple of weeks, we've seen signals both from the Indian side, the High Commissioner's interview just this week, the desire to stabilize relations, the desire to look at the bigger picture and not just focus on this one big incident. But if there was to be evidence that becomes public, of course, it would be a very different story.
Talk to us about how do you think the current, for example, elections at play in India could have any sort of impact on what's going on between India and Canada? We know that Prime Minister Modi is looking at another term. We also have elections coming up in Canada as of next year. There is a lot of course, politics also at play and grandstanding when it comes to issues like that and domestic politics as well.
Absolutely. So India is in the midst of their elections. It's a multi-week election. We just went through this third phase earlier this week. The elections will not conclude until June, beginning of June, and the results will be known on June 4th, which means everything that's happening between now and then will be received in the context of a lot of campaigning and the heated political rhetoric on the Indian side. When there is any kind of development here in the West, for instance, when the Washington Post published reporting about the assassination plot in the US, which was actually stopped by law enforcement there, the reaction from India was that this is interference, that the timing of these reports, the timing of these developments in Canada and the US is connected to elections in India and therefore is attempting to meddle in the electoral process there. In the case of Canada, India has always maintained that these developments are part of political considerations, a desire to win election and votes with the Sikh community here. So those allegations have been ongoing. And of course, in the context of these arrests, those statements have also been made.
All right, we leave it at that for the moment. Vina Nadjibula, Vice President of Research and Strategy at the Asia Pacific Foundation of Canada. Appreciate your insights and time, Vina. Thank you.
Thank you very much.